My name is Jason. I wasn't the type who got scared easily. I'd camped alone, traveled alone, walked dark roads at midnight without a second thought. But everything changed the night my cousin Ben called me from his place out near the Kaibab forest. It was just past 11. I was sitting on my couch sorting through emails when my phone buzzed. Ben rarely called me. We texted sometimes, but he lived a quiet life and never bothered anyone unless he had to. When I picked up, the silence on his end didn't feel normal. "Ben?" I asked. A long pause. Then in a tight, shaky voice, he said, "Can you come over?" It didn't sound like a casual request. He sounded drained, nervous, like he was forcing himself to keep the phone steady. "I'm serious," he said again. "Please come. And hurry." "What's going on?" I asked. Another pause. Then he whispered, "Something keeps walking around my house." At first I thought he meant a bear or a cougar. His house sat alone near the forest line. Wildlife was normal there, but his voice didn't match something normal. "Is it an animal?" I asked. "No," he answered. "It talked." I felt a chill run down my back. "Who talked?" He breathed out like he was trying not to cry. "It sounded like a woman at first, then like a kid, then it sounded like you." I stood up from my couch without realizing it. "Stay inside," I told him. "I'm coming." "Don't use the driveway," he said quickly. "Park down the road. And don't knock. Just walk in." "Why?" He swallowed hard. "It keeps asking me to open the door." Those words stayed with me. They moved around my mind like cold water slipping through cracks. I grabbed my jacket, keys, and the small flashlight I kept by the door. My heart thudded against my ribs the whole drive. 2 hours on empty roads. No gas stations open. Nothing but the desert wind hitting my car. The closer I got to his area, the darker it became. My headlights lit only 10 or 12 feet ahead, and everything beyond that was swallowed in pitch black. Even the stars felt dimmer. When I reached the dirt road that led to his place, I slowed down. His house sat about a quarter mile from the main road. I kept my lights off for the last stretch, letting the moonless night cover me. As I parked and got out, my phone buzzed. A text from Ben, "Don't make any noise." I walked quickly but quietly toward the house. The air felt heavy, colder than the rest of the night. The forest on my left stood completely still. No crickets, no owls, no wind. Silence so thick it felt like someone had taken the whole world and pressed mute. I reached the door. It was unlocked, like he said. I stepped inside. Ben stood in the corner of his living room, pale and stiff. He didn't even greet me. He just whispered, "It keeps calling my name." Before I could say anything back, something outside tapped the window. 3 slow taps. Then a voice, my voice, said softly, "Ben, let me in." I felt my blood go cold. Hearing your own voice outside, a window when you're standing. Inside is something I can't explain. It twists your stomach. It empties your lungs. It makes your body forget how to move. "That's what it does," Ben whispered. "It tries on voices like clothes." "How long has this been happening?" I asked. "Since sunset." He looked exhausted, like he hadn't blinked in hours. "It started with a cry," he said, "like a hurt animal. I went out with my flashlight to check. I thought maybe a dog got stuck somewhere. Then it spoke. It used my mother's voice. She's been dead 9 years. Another tap on the window cut him off. Tap, tap, tap. Then a voice again. This time it sounded like a woman. "Let me in, I need help." Ben shut his eyes. That was the first voice it used. I glanced toward the window but didn't get too close. The curtains were thin. The glass felt too fragile. "What does it look like?" I whispered. "I haven't seen it fully," he said. "Only a shape in the yard?" "Tall wrong, it doesn't move like a person." The tapping moved to a different window. It was circling us. Every few seconds its footsteps stopped. Then came the scraping sound. Long, slow like nails or claws dragging across wood. "What does it want?" I asked. Ben shook his head. "It doesn't just want to get in. It wants to be let in." The difference hit me hard. Outside something shifted. A soft thump against the siding. Then a new voice spoke. This time it wasn't mine or his. It sounded like a little boy, weak, trembling, barely audible. "Please, open the door, I'm lost." Ben whispered. It used that one for almost an hour. Like it was practicing. We stepped away from the windows, sinking into the far corner of the house. Every sound outside felt amplified. At around 2 in the morning, everything went silent. No footsteps. No voices, nothing. We waited 5 minutes. Finally, Ben nodded toward the side window. Looked slowly. We moved together and lifted the curtain just enough. Something stood at the edge of the yard. My heart hammered. It wasn't human. It was thin, taller than the doorframe, its arms hanging lower than they should. The skin on its body looked stretched, torn in places like it didn't quite fit. Bits of dark fur clung to its elbows and shoulders like someone had stitched pieces of different animals together. Its head looked like a deer skull, but not a natural one, longer, sharper, with too many teeth in the jaw. And yet, something moved beneath the skull. Something wet. Something breathing. As we watched, it slowly turned its head toward us. Even though we were hidden behind a curtain in a dark room, it knew, and then it smiled. Not the deer skull. The thing inside the deer skull. A grin spreading under the bone mask, stretching the skin too far. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even breathe. Ben whispered, "We have to run." I nodded. We didn't have a choice. The creature took one step forward. We both backed away from the window. "Now," Ben whispered. "We go now." And we ran. We burst out the back door, hitting the cold air like it was a wall. The forest behind Ben's house was thick, mostly pine, almost pitch dark. But it was our only chance. If we stayed in the house, we'd be trapped. We didn't talk, we just ran. The ground was uneven and covered with loose rocks. The flashlight cut through the dark only a little, barely enough to see where we were stepping. Behind us, the creature screamed. It wasn't an animal sound. It wasn't a person. It was like someone dragging metal across stone while breathing, through shredded lungs. My legs shook, but I kept running. Branches scraped my face. The cold bit through my jacket. Every crack of a twig behind us made me think the creature had caught up. "Keep going," I yelled. Then I heard it. The creature wasn't walking. It was crawling. Fast. The sound of its limbs hitting the ground, too many joints bending at once, echoed through the trees. Ben gasped, "It's close." I looked back for a split second. I wish I didn't. The creature was hunched low, its arms twisted backward, pulling itself forward like some huge insect. Its spine cracked every time it moved. The deer skull bounced with each step, loosely attached to the creature underneath. Its empty eye holes were locked on me. We sprinted deeper into the woods. My breath burned. My lungs felt like they were filling with ice. Ben tripped and I pulled him up by the sleeve. Then through the trees I saw it. A fire lookout tower, tall, metal, old. "We can climb," I yelled. The creature let out another scream. Leaves shook. Birds fled from the trees. We hit the bottom steps and raced up. The metal rattled. My heart pounded so hard I thought I'd pass out. Halfway up, Ben stopped and looked down. "Jason," he whispered. "It's climbing." The creature was pulling itself up the tower legs, crawling diagonally along the metal supports, its limbs bending in ways that made no sense. We reached the top and slammed the cabin door shut. I locked it. Ben shoved a wooden table against it even though it wouldn't do much. We backed into the far corner, breathing hard. Below us, the metal shook. It was coming. The creature reached the top platform slowly. The boards creaked under its weight. Every step felt deliberate, like it wanted us to hear every second of our time running out. The doorknob turned. Ben held the knife in his uninjured hand. I held a metal rod we found inside the cabin. Then the voice came. It used my voice. Perfectly. "Ben, open the door." Ben's breathing got shaky. Stop talking like that." The creature knocked, pretending to be polite. "Ben," it said in a calm, steady tone. "I'm hurt, help me." Hearing myself speak from the other side of the door made my skin crawl. The next voice it used was worse. It used Ben's. "Jason," the voice said softly. "Let me in." Ben sank to his knees. "Make it stop." I put my hand on his shoulder. "Don't listen. It's trying to break us." Then the door bent inward. Just slightly, but enough to crack the wooden frame. Ben gasped. The creature let out a long, low breath, like someone blowing through clogged lips. Then the deer skull pushed through the gap, peeking into the cabin. We jumped back. It squeezed through the doorway, bones snapping as it reshaped itself to fit. Once inside, it stood to full height. The skull scraped the ceiling. Its long arms hung at its sides, twitching slightly. It stared at us without moving. Then it spoke again, this time using both our voices layered together. "Don't run." Ben, shaking uncontrollably, charged at it with the knife.
Stay away from him!
The creature caught his wrist gently at first, then twisted. The sound of Ben's bone breaking echoed around the small cabin. He screamed and fell, the knife clattering across the floor. I swung the metal rod at the creature's head. It didn't even flinch. It looked at me, head tilting slightly, studying me like I was a strange animal. Then it dropped onto its hands, bent low, and lunged. Its claws hit my shoulder and slammed me into the wall. I felt something tear. Something warm ran down my chest. Ben crawled toward me using his good arm. "Jason, get up, please." The creature picked him up like he weighed nothing. He screamed, he begged, he called my name. Then the creature tore him apart. I can still hear the sound, the wet tearing, the drop of his body hitting the floor. I didn't move. My legs wouldn't respond. My mind shut down. The creature turned toward me, covered in Ben's blood. It leaned close, and in Ben's dying voice it whispered, "Your turn." And everything went black. They say the ranger discovered the tower after spotting blood on the steps. They found Ben first. Then they found what was left of me farther inside the cabin. They told the sheriff it was a mountain lion. Something big. Something violent. They always say that. But rangers don't go near that forest line at night anymore. Locals say they hear voices sometimes. Voices calling their names. Voices of people who aren't there. Some hear crying. Some hear laughter. Some hear their own voice whispering from the tree line. And sometimes hikers swear they see a tall shape between the pines. Thin, twisted, wearing a deer skull for a face. But the skull isn't the real face. The real face moves underneath. The real face smiles. And sometimes late at night when the wind dies, it calls your name in your own voice.